Dr. Martha Academy. I hope you're doing well. So, yeah, good morning, Lemon. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm okay. It's a dark day. Not so wet, but still dark. But regardless, to move. Barbara, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Ofanga kirolete kibuli maaso. First of all, these things, they need to be driven with patience. Yet Amanya to Russia. Good morning, Bill Gadgets. I hope you're doing well. And everyone that is in Kamori, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you're doing well. Yesterday network could not allow me to connect to the live broadcast, so I did not do a live broadcast. I tried, and the network disconnected me totally. So, but I'm testing something out. I'm testing something. That's why you see that the picture is not as clear as last week. But I think I should have it sorted by the end of the day. Technically, I'm trying to test something out. Soon I will buy mine, but I'm still abroad. I mean, yeah, you'll come back home and buy. Yeah, but regardless, we keep moving. On Saturday, we woke up to I saw the news at around 10. The journalist that died in a car crash. It wasn't really a car crash. It was like a very bad car roll over. I think he was on the Entebbe Express Highway, and I think he drove really badly, and he rolled over. He's a Daily Monitor journalist, NTV journalist, and yeah, he died on the spot. So he was driving a Paso, and I think he was over speeding, and he failed to negotiate a turn probably, or he just lost control. Let's just take it as losing control, because that's a normal thing when you're over speeding. And one thing I've realized is majority of the people on the road don't actually know how to drive. I can tell you personally, my view is that if you don't know how to drive a manual car or manual motorcar, what you know is you know how to handle a steering wheel, you know how to accelerate and brake. Those are literally the only things you know. If you don't know how to drive a manual car, then literally you don't know how to concentrate. What happens is that a manual car requires a lot of concentration. You concentrate on what the automatic guys concentrate on, and on top of that you add the clutch, you add the gear lever. Okay, so you need to know where the gears go, you need to know which gear works where, you need to know what time to let the clutch go, you need to know. So you literally have a lot of things that you're doing at the same time. And we have all these inexperienced people on the road, bad roads at it, and driving old cars, because literally, like some of us, you're driving a 2009 models. 2009 is more than 10 years old. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It's more than 10, because 2009, 2019, that would be 10 years, 20, 21, 22, 23. You're driving a car that is more than 11 years old, and and on top of that, tomanyi motoka. Because literally, if you're watching this and you're driving an automatic and you have never driven a manual car, you don't know how to drive. It's plain and simple. And I will recommend, because buli muntu ali weak Moroka ya manuals, Moroka ya manuals, unze sijja kugisobola, olwo obwongo buganye, you cannot concentrate. And those are the people that we have driving on the roads. And we are literally looking at the easier, the softer options, because well, the softer options exist. I'll give you an example. When a man tries to vibe chicks, abazibu, no. Let me take it this angle. We've seen women that are strong, women that work hard, women that have independent minds, women that have their own money. Majority of men don't want them because you can literally not control them, or you cannot be with them. So to be with a strong woman, you actually need to be a strong man yourself. And literally, all men are shying away from these strong women because and that's probably why you'll find that majority of the strong women, and I'm quoting, it doesn't mean that every single woman is strong. They end up being single for the better part of their lives, and apparently when they get men, they end up controlling, because they settle for what they can get. So so that accident, and it's very sad. He was a very young man, 32 years of age. That's very young. He did not have a family. So it's a very sad thing that a person as great as he was, because he was an award-winning journalist, and he dies without leaving a family behind. So I find that it's really sad. He was still at school. I think he was doing his masters. Very bright future ahead of him. Journalism is one let's say one profession where it's very hard for you to break through, and he had broken through, and he was popular, and he was literally celebrated. And it's sad that at a time when he was actually starting to be known literally by everyone, he dies in a car crash. So I wanted to personally try and discuss reasons why you can get into such an accident. Of course, the first obvious reason would be overspeeding. And I'm not saying this out of disrespect, but omuntu alina paso lwaki ovuga past 100 kilometers? Name 100. If you're driving a paso, that small thing, you should not go beyond 80 kilometers per hour. That thing is too small. It's too small. It has a very small engine. Even if you decided to brake with the engine can literally not break the wind. So a person that is driving a paso, why would you go beyond the 80? Personally, I've never driven past 120. I've never driven past 120. I think I've done 130 sometime. But 140, what are you looking for? This car has a speedometer that goes 180. Like you find someone driving a Toyota, these are Toyotas, and he's driving 160. Like, where's his age? First of all, you don't have medical insurance. Second of all, you're driving a car that is more than 15 years old, because majority of the cars on Ugandan roads are more than 15 years old. My car is a 2001 model. Let me calculate for you. 2001, 2010, those are 10 years. 2020, those are 20 years. I'm driving a car that is 23 years old. Good morning, Council. You get, I'm driving a car that is more than 20 years old. It's older than both my kids combined. I'm older than my car by 10 years. And you're driving that car 160 kilometers. That's stupidity. It's pure foolishness. And I'm thinking, when someone does it the first time and they survive, they think, oh, I'll keep on surviving. Oh, I'll keep on surviving. And before you know it, you die. And if you have a family, you leave a young family behind. You get? If you have a girlfriend, then you leave a girlfriend behind to be done by other guys. If you have a boyfriend, then you leave your boyfriend to go do other girls. And then you'll be there, and then your ghost will start coming to disturb the person that you left behind. I don't know if guys, I make sense. I'm trying to show you the things you will lose, because if you don't lose a family, you definitely lose something. You get it? I don't know if In a way, I try to make sense. One thing you need to understand is that with the cars that we have on Ugandan roads, leave government vehicles. The government guys, they drive brand new cars. Umeme guys, they drive brand new cars. Negwe, in the other, why would I be going 140 kilometers per hour? To chase what? To chase what? Like, what are you chasing? Like, what important business are you going to do? What important business are you going to do that warrants you to drive 140 kilometers? Yes, thank you very much, Mugerwa. As I talk about reckless Subaru drivers, yeah, the Subaru drivers, and man, you know one reason why I don't drive a Subaru, one reason why I don't drive those racy cars is because it's very hard for you to control your speed when you know you're driving a speed merchant. Like you're driving a Subaru that is supposed to be going fast and you cannot go fast. You get it? So that's one reason why I don't drive Subarus. Subarus are very cheap on the market, by the way. Now, the reason why I don't drive Subaru is simple. I cannot drive a speed merchant and I don't drive fast. So I will keep driving my modest cars. I'll drive myself a Crown. I'll buy myself a Crown and I drive that modestly. You get what I'm saying? Now you want to vuga paso, because I think we need to use the experiences of other people for us to learn. Like someone drove a paso on the express and you saw how it ended up. It didn't end well. But now I want you to actually think about it, because I know I'm talking to majority young people here. I want you to think about yourself. If you got into that accident, what burdens are you going to leave for the people that you leave behind? Okay, have you left enough money to look after your kids, if you have kids at all? Have you left enough money to look after your kids for forever, or until they are 20 years, or until they finish university? Have you? Because if you haven't, if you don't have enough money on the account, if you don't have an insurance planned for your kids, then my dear, you should be driving 60 kilometers per hour like Arthur. At most go 80. You get? Some of you get on the road, you don't even know how to maintain a car. You don't even know how to start maintaining a car. You don't know how worn out brakes feel when you're braking. Okay? You don't even know how to check the brake fluid. And you're there driving 110. Stupidity. You don't even know how to check oil levels. That you can be driving and the engine shuts off automatically. Never call your car because, well, it's tired, but you don't know. You don't even know how a car that is about to overheat smells. You're driving 120. Good morning, Daniel. Guys, let's wake up. Omuntu avuga ka paso kabiri munana kabiri mwenda. You're driving a car that is more than 10 years old. Why are you doing 140 kilometers? Okay, the camera is dirty. Let me just clean it. Today I also came ready to talk about the hard topics. Amina, let's talk together, guys. You can comment, put your thoughts here. We lost a very young person because he was clearly overspeeding. That kind of accident, there was no other car involved. There was no border involved. There was no road. Those road had bricks that they put in the road. They call them road what? Anang. You need to be an engineering game. You get, there was nothing that blocked his way. So clearly he lost control of the car. Now I'm obviously going to talk about some of the reasons that I think could have caused that kind of accident. But the first very, very clear reason was overspeeding. So because these cars can fail, okay, but if you're not overspeeding, some of those things that I'm going to talk about will not lead to the accident. But take it, I dedicated my whole weekend to study different kinds of cars, because honestly speaking, I was so disturbed after seeing the way how the car was demolished. Yeah, that car, whatever happened to that car was a result of reckless driving. And I personally believe that reckless driving should be fined at about 5 million. nga Arthur avuga akamotoka ke yagula $1,500,000 tajja ku overspeedinga, tajja kuvuga recklessly, because we bamukatira mu reckless driving sente zagula emmotoka azisasulamu fine. You get what I'm saying? Because literally, why would you be driving that Paso at the kind of speed that I imagine he was driving? Because at 80 kilometers per hour, that car would not have gotten spoiled that much. You guys have you seen like the speed crash tests they do on cars? Even a Mercedes-Benz at 130 gets spoiled. Kati Mercedes-Benz with the tuziwana one of that. Good morning, Adam. Tuziwana Mercedes-Benz that they have very hard bodies. Even a Volvo at 130 ojirabanga waliwo impact yamanyi. Now, you imagine your car Paso. Imagine your car Raum. Imagine my car Corolla. Imagine your Chipapura Wish. Guys, that was a very promising journalist. He could have ended up as CEO of some media house. He could have ended up as a BBC journalist. Someone that could have ended up as a great person. Ontegeda. Now, we want to drive Japan cars like as if we are driving European cars. Even European cars at the speed he was going, the speed I imagine he was going, even a Mercedes-Benz. You guys saw one of the founders of Galaxy FM. He died on the very road. He was driving a Mercedes-Benz. When he got into the crash, because the Mercedes-Benz, even the Mercedes-Benz has a breaking point. So he died in a Mercedes-Benz on the very road at Tebe Express. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. Even German cars. Oh, can't take a essay. David Wamba Desigirabanti. My Moroccan Piazino, Kati, David Wamba just let Tachigoy Kusimurako. I put Ka AC and Ka AC cleans. So you guys, as you start thinking that probably German machines are safer, they are not. There is no car that is safer. Let me tell you, the one machine that they would create that in the safest way, it would be the aeroplane. But have you seen an aeroplane crash? Literally nobody survives. Like literally when they are going to crash, the pilot would tell the passengers, please say your final prayers, we are going to crash. Because he knows once he crash, we die. However, you would think that if a plane crashes in like a lake, people don't die because they are crashing in the water. But you saw what happened in Tanzania on Lake Victoria. The plane crashed on the water and literally like 90 people died. You get? So, but you would imagine that the plane is the safest thing because it's too expensive. Traveling by air is too expensive, but still even that is not safe. And I remember every day you educate us to keep time. You drive in peace. Exactly, I've been telling my wife here. We leave home at 6, we will drive peacefully. There will be very few cars. We leave home at 6:30. Trust me, the situation is tense. Like we don't really have peace, but still we get to work late. I have a meeting at 8, but I'll get at work like 8:30. Why? Because of Muntu Yekunya. You get what I'm saying? Whether German or Japan or heaven, speed kills. Thank you, Samuel. Morning, Brian. Samuel, morning. Speed will kill you. Why would you drive a car at 130? Like, okay, what are you chasing? Let me just do some math for you. I live 35 kilometers from town. Okay? 35 kilometers from town. Now, if I were going to town, leaving my home, and I drove at 35 kilometers per hour, I would spend 1 hour on the road without jam. Okay? So it means if I left home at 6, let me add 30 minutes for jam. I'll leave home at 6 and I'll get to my workplace at 7:30. Peacefully driving at 35 kilometers per hour. Very slow speed. At that speed, I brake and I don't knock him. But because we leave home late, there are periods where I have to drive 80 kilometers per hour. There are periods where I have to overtake. And I'm not comfortable doing that. But because we have business to do, we have kids to get to school, sometimes I have to overspeed. But even when I overspeed, I don't go beyond 80 kilometers per hour. Good morning, Innocent. You get, I don't go beyond 80 kilometers per hour. Why? And I used to go very fast. But never said I nadukiranga mwe baga manga. Athoduka nyo. Nadinga sisuka speed chikumi. I'm a coward. I'm a coward. And I think the biggest speed I've gone has been 130. And that was the time when I was taking a sick child to the children's hospital in Mbale. Omwana yali yeska, and the only hospital that would work on his condition was in Mbale. And I drove from Kampala at 11 p.m. But even then, because I had spent the day working hard, I was dozing. So I would cut speed to like 40 kilometers per hour and give myself some space to doze. So we got to Mbale at around, I think, 4 a.m. But I think, like, the times that I would speed, I would go at around, and I was driving the Mark II. I'd go at around 120 because omwana nga bwenchuka bwenti mutunuliranga yeska. And that's the last time I drove at night. The last time I drove at night, I wasn't really over speeding. I was driving a visa and I was going to Mbarara. I dozed. The global coach, you can imagine global crashing into a Vitz. I had like I had my sister, I had a sister-in-law, and I had a workmate in the back, and I had another workmate seated. He actually told me, and I told him no, and I dozed. Do you know what happened? The global bus guard, yaita kuku side mirror yange, and that day I swore never to drive at night again. So the next time I drove at night, I was taking this child to the hospital. So I literally had to try and speed up to mutuse. Ila twamtusa mudwayo twamtusiza kwa oxygen. You get? And I don't drive at night. I hate driving basically I just hate moving at night. Mfumo kulaba ngewange entuka by latest 10, and 10 oba chechi bachintusiza late bananga aina kuba jam. Because even driving at night can cause accidents. You can doze, your headlamps can blow. There's these reckless taxi drivers that drive with one light, not always a border. It happens even with lorries. Gosoboro kujango manyi border kumbe chirole ne chikutomera ne chikuta. Ochitegera. Slippery roads at night. Naba bibe nyine basoboro bamaji kundabirwamu, and you get trouble. You get. So anyway, it's really sad that we lost a very resourceful young person. 32 years of age. 32 years is really young. Me, I don't want to die until I've seen my kids through university. I want to see my kids and looking at the age I had my kids should be out of university by the time I'm like 55. I won't go kulia ku sente zange. Tanko kuyagala ngenda ke Dubai, ngenda keno. Ochitegera kapulani konna kakubadda. Kati bwemba njagala kugenda ke Dubai after 55, ekimvuze mmoroka nga agenda okufa. Ochitegera. But also let's understand. I was telling you, I drove my Vitz to Kabale in those hills when you're cornering. And I can tell you that in those hills in Kabale, you would feel the Vitz. And I wasn't driving this normal Vitz, the 1.0. I was driving a 1.3cc Vitz, which is considerably heavier than the normal Vitz. You get? But either way, ngojulirange unga bweti. So the cars that you should probably be driving in Kabale and knowing they will be stable would be heavy cars like a Mercedes-Benz. So if you're going to be driving going to Kabale, Kabale is your village, I would definitely recommend that you drive a heavier car, you buy a heavier car. Don't buy these bupasos, those small light cars. Because that's one reason you can actually get an accident. You drive a light car and you drive it like it's a heavy car, and there are chances that you will end up waving yourself off the road because, well, the wind can definitely take you off the road. You see the Ipsam in front of us, that's one heavy car. Now, if you're going to be driving those steep roads, like those windy heavy turns in Kabale, then you can drive the Ipsam. And you'll realize that Ipsam is actually heavier than the Wish. Why that happens, I have no idea. If you want to drive a 1.5cc car, don't buy a Sienta. The Sienta is definitely lighter than the Alex. Alex can't do on sides in Canada. That's why I'm talking about it. Buy the Alex because the Alex is heavier. So now, if you're a speedy driver, and you should not be a speedy driver, like literally we are Ugandans. Have you ever rushed to go to a meeting and you find that they are the only person there? And you were rushing to go to a meeting, and the people you are rushing to meet come late? Because this is Uganda. You get? And you see, I've been doing pre-purchase inspections for you guys, and the only time I've arrived to a place and the people found me there were 2 times. The first time was when I was helping a lady, Madame Joyce, buy the Succeed. She's but she's like a UK educated and raised person, so she knows how to keep time. This is the exact place that I found her. But I found her there. That's one time that I got to a place late. And also the other time was when I was going to help Ayman buy we bought a paso sete. I found him and his uncle there waiting for me. You get it? Those are 2 times that all the other times, someone tells you he will come at 10 and he comes at 1. So literally you can imagine yourself suffering no kurubula ne moroka z'abantu ng'opapa ogenda oyambeko omuntu to pre-purchase inspection, and you literally find that they are not there. They come like 3 hours late. You get what I'm saying? So let's plan our time first of all. Besides, this is something that we need to plan, all of us, even including me. I'm personally a person that plans my time. But when it has like a third party involved and I'm going to travel with someone, then it gets complicated. Because tojja kutegeerera muntu mulala. Ojja kulowooza nti probably if we leave this time kijja kola naye ng'ate oli alowooza birala. Or probably let me pick you up at this time and then n'otuukawo nga ye tannaba kumala kubeera ready. These things of you going for dates or going for events, and then you have to pick other people. Obegatteko mugende. You're going for a Kwanjula to, let's say, Mbarara, and then you calculate Mbarara is a 4-hour drive. But then you have to wait for the Mogole because the Mogole apparently did not buy stuff. Some old guys drove us 180 kilometers going to Koboko, but trust me, while in the car I repented my sins. Like, why would you allow someone to drive 180 kilometers? Because at 180 kilometers, I've seen crash tests. You guys should see crash test videos. At 180 kilometers, there is no car that survives. The car literally gets crushed like a ngano. You guys know flour that they make chapati from? At 180 kilometers, even if you were knocking a tree, the car will get crushed to nothing. It will be like ground nuts. At 180 kilometers, even the Mercedes-Benz that we think are strong, why would you allow to sit in a car that is going 180 kilometers? Even rally car drivers don't go 180 kilometers. Rally car drivers be driving between 80 and 140. Like, what were you going to do to Koboko that lets you on these Ugandan roads and you drive 180 kilometers? These Ugandan roads. The Ugandan roads, you know what's funny about our Ugandan roads? You can be driving on a smooth path, like a smooth place like this, and then all of a sudden you'll find a very deep pothole somewhere that wasn't there last week, and it's really deep, and then that pothole alone can kill you. Okay, let's try to dissect these things. I'll start with myself, and this is probably one reason why I don't drive fast. Let me start by giving you an example. 3 weeks ago, I was driving my car. It was making very bad noises. So, of course, then I hadn't discovered that the steering rack got water into it. And so I say, okay, let me change my ball joints. Because when ball joints are about to break, they make a certain noise, like what my steering rack. Now, kakati kubo watu manji na ball joint inatira kadiwa wekola skerero odukachi. So I called my mechanic to have the ball joints changed. Now they removed the ball joints and everything that they have to remove as they remove the ball joints. Then they realized the mounting of my shock absorber of the passenger side had broken like a long time ago. If you don't know what a mounting of the shock absorber does, the mounting of the shock absorber holds the shock absorber in place on the chassis. Let me try to demonstrate. The shock absorber is this. You tie is the easiest word I know. Okay, you bolt the shock absorber onto a mounting. Okay, you put it here, and then the mounting is bolted onto the chassis. Okay, the shock absorber mounting, then mounting chassis. Now what happened? The mounting has a rubber, why we call it a mounting? It has a rubber bush. Now the rubber bush had broken, and the shock absorber was on its own, the chassis was on its own. And I had been driving this for like a week, feeling the noises and being very uncomfortable. but I did not know what it was. There are things like that can kill you. Things like that can kill you. Just imagine if I had that fault, shock absorber alone, mounting alone on the chassis, and then the shock absorber kept doing this. Just imagine you're driving 150 kilometers on the road and you don't know that that thing is broken. And then you brake all of a sudden. The shock absorber will come out, whoop, and then the car will overturn, obviously. Now, what I've spoken about is something that basically you guys have never experienced. Something that basically, some of you, one thing I've realized about the guys that I help buy cars, some of you don't even know the basic things about cars. So if your mechanics found something like that, they will not even tell you because you will not understand. So they find something like that, bagamba bugambi muzei, tukulewe mounting ikano kamenyeka, ngatomanyi na impact ya mounting yako. Olumu, you will go to a garage and your mechanic will tell you, muzei, tukule ka mounting yako kale kafurde, and you'll take it for granted. You get what I'm saying? And you'll take it for granted that and then you'll keep driving your 140 kilometers on the Entebbe Express Highway. So I told you, the shock is here. You bolt a mounting and then you mount both of them by the mounting on the chassis. Cutting the mounting yang yadi ya kutukada nga shock eri yofuka banga techakwata ku chassis. You can imagine if I were a fast driver and I drive recklessly the way most of you guys drive. Bwosiba abruptly shock absorber wetambwe wese go boye wetambwe etino mpira nga guva mulaini okitegeera mpira bwe guva mulaini, you know what happens. Then the car will overturn from that side, and then my entire family perishes in that accident. And then they say, once there was a man called Chisenyi. He drove recklessly and he killed his entire family. So sometimes reckless driving is like a trigger. The other things like that, what I've told you. So you need to get, like, whenever you go to the garage or you go for service, probably you should start getting those things checked out. Like that mounting, whoever thinks of checking it, of the shock absorber. I'm actually thinking people drive for years. If the shock absorbers have not blown, then they keep driving and you get it. So the other thing that can cause babuita bukono, innocent obukono babuita batya mu luzungu, the hands obukono bwe moroka obukono. Yeah, I know obukono because literally that's what we have been experiencing. I don't know how they call them in English. Obukono bubeereyo wansi, then waliwo baita buzed okitegeera. All those things can actually break. Now if those things broke and you're over speeding, the next thing is actually to overturn. So some of you makanika akugamba, let's change these things. We no mugamba bunyigemu, makanika nakugamba tukukyuse bunyigemu okitegeera. And if you are over speeding and one of those things broke, my dear, can you imagine Brian who was sitting in a car that was going 180 kilometers? You're going 180 kilometers and the Z link breaks. What happens? You get Arthur, I think we should just follow speed limits. I have ever driven 180 kilometers. I just dropped back to 80. The next day I gave my colleague to drive. At 130. I've never had a fatal accident. I've had accidents, but these accidents are the accidents that come because you're young and you're stupid. I was stupid, basically. I had those accidents when I was 22. Which together, you know, byobavuga ngo ina chibebi wano, chibebi no chikwata ko bwoti ogenda okuchuka ngo otomedde moroka ekuli maso. Those are the accidents I've been having. I've never really had those accidents where the car probably overturns or where you hit the car in front of you. I've never really had those things because I've literally never driven past 100. And I started driving 130 like years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago. Before that, my maximum speed was 80 kilometers. You get what I'm saying? Morning Gaetano, morning Benedicto. Some taxi drivers drive at high speed and they don't stop at speed humps. And you see ladies start returning back their breasts in Nakwere, Uganda. One reason why I don't like taking taxis up country is because majority of the time when a taxi gets an accident, most passengers die. And I don't want to take a chance with my life to see if I'm the one that will die or the one that will survive to tell the story. Most passengers die in those taxi crashes. Of course, the drivers die. They know. The driver of a taxi knows that he will die if he crashes. But he's comfortable dying. I don't know if he's comfortable dying. And I don't know. Are you comfortable dying? Me, I would prefer that if you're going up country. One time, I think like 2 to 3 weeks ago, a workmate of mine was heading to Mbali. We had like an engagement there, so I could not go. And personally, one of the reasons that I could not go is driving my car would be very expensive. And the other reason was that I had a gig, and that gig could basically pay for his transport and allowance, and also I keep money. So I went and did that gig, and I collected money, and I gave him to go. I gave him money to go to Mbali, and I told him specifically to take a bus. Why? It's the bus accidents don't normally kill passengers, and it's because the bus is literally high, it's heavy. You're looking smart. But I know you know. You're even walking like eh.
Babe, I don't know.
So GM, what's that, Arnold? How are you? Hey, you're saying good morning, Arnold. So I don't like taking taxis. Buses would be a little easier, but if even the buses are not that safe, because if that bus crashed, do you realize that those buses, when they're being built, especially the ones that are built in Kampala, they build with these normal pipes. They build with normal pipes, and then they put sponge. If that bus crashed, literally those pipes will go through you. So I find that when I'm going up country, I'm safer in my car. So if I can't afford to drive up country because of fuel, I delegate or I don't go. Because in my car, I can literally control the speed. Okay, if I see someone behind me driving recklessly, I move out of their way and they go. If I see someone in front of me driving recklessly, I let them go or I overtake them. Because in my car, I can control literally so many things. And I know that my car is in good condition. Which take it. So, I've told you 2 reasons. Even the ball joints, by the way. But the good thing with ball joints, it's rare to find a ball joint breaking when you're going at high speeds. Normally, the ball joints break when you're going at low speeds. You get. The other thing that would make your car crash heavily would be the brakes. Just imagine you're driving at 130 kilometers and you realize there's a hump in front of you, because there are so many times that you will not see the humps coming, and then you brake and the car refuses to brake. What will happen? Because these are things you have to think about. If you don't want to think about them, then probably, because me, every day that I'm driving, I'm imagining to myself, what if the brakes fail? What if the brakes fail? Because literally that's like the one thing that will keep you safe in a car. What if the brakes fail? What if the brakes fail? Thanks. What if the brakes fail? And then that alone will make me reduce my speed. So I give the car in front of me distance. Remember, I was telling you, give the car in front of you at least 2 feet. Make sure you see the bumper, the rear bumper of the car in front of you to the end, because that speed, even if when the car was not braking, I'm experienced in driving manual cars, so I know that if my car is not braking, I can literally brake with the gears. I can. That's why I'm saying that everyone that is driving a car on the road today, it doesn't matter how many years you've driven. If you don't know how to drive a manual car, go learn how to drive a manual car. Go see the kind of concentration it takes to keep that car on the road focused, to keep that car going on the road properly in a straight line or in whatever line that is supposed to go. Go and learn how to drive a manual car. Guys, one reason I drive a manual car is because it's safer. Go to police stations. Count the number of cars that have gotten into crashes. count the number of cars, and then get the percentage of automatics versus the percentage of manuals. And literally most of the manual cars you will see there will be taxis. Why? Because a taxi is tricky. The braking system of a taxi is tricky, especially the front brakes. The front brakes can fall anytime. I drove a Dudu. The Dudu has the braking system literally like a taxi. And one time the brake just fell out of the blue. You get what I'm saying? So the taxis are tricky. That's and most of the times when taxis get crashes, it's because it failed to brake. It's literally because it failed to brake. Normally, it's not because of anything. That's normally why the taxis get accident. Brakes. You get the other things are okay. And you see, even when you know how to brake using the gears, it's very hard for you to brake using the gears at 180 or 140. Literally, you will try, but you'll just fry the gearbox. After frying the gearbox, then you'll have nothing to hold you, and then you have to crash. So normally, that's what happens with taxis. He will try to brake using the handbrake. The handbrake will not do it because it is going at 140. He will try braking using the gears. He will fry the gearbox will fail, and then he will start shouting. He will start saying, "Oh, Mukama!" You get what I'm saying? So, but with our cars, the small cars, the brakes rarely fall. I mean, they rarely fall. So with our cars, it's literally unskilled drivers on the road with poor braking systems, or being on the phone. I'm looking at someone that is driving right now. He has a phone here and he's literally driving. Do you know why he's doing that? Because he has one foot on the brake and the accelerator, and he can do that. You get? So he can manage. But me, with my manual car, you cannot literally manage to have a phone. You have to change gears. You are in traffic jam. That's why I'm telling you that it's very rare to find a manual car that has crashed, because literally you cannot drive when you have one of your hands has to be on the gear lever, and then you have to concentrate with the clutch and all, and then you still have the phone in your hand. That's impossible. I'm saying this again, and I will never break it away. If you don't know how to drive a manual car, tomanyi motoka. People that have survived on the road for the longest period of time, bamanyi okuvuga emmotoka za manual. Go and see a person that has been driving for over 50 years. He'll tell you, I know. Go look at the people that have died at a very young age of ngabafude accident, 30 years, 28, 35. Majority of them tebamanyi moroka za manual. You get? And I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't you I know a manual car is very hard, but why wouldn't you take the trouble to go and learn something that is hard, so that when you get to something that is, I'm even uncomfortable driving an automatic car. Do you know why? First of all, when I'm driving up country and I'm driving an automatic, I doze. Okay? Even when I'm not tired, I doze. Secondly, driving an automatic car makes my leg hurt, because I'm literally using one leg. Kati that joint there, but with an automatic, first of all, I'm very comfortable. Not to mention the fact that I save money driving an automatic car. A manual car. I save lots of money. Second, kuba nkuba endobo more than you can ever imagine. Kati wemba ngende mbalala, mbuga kumpi buli wamu nkubirawo endobo. Okitegeera. Tosobola kuba ku ssimu. Ekyo ekyokubiri ekireetera abantu accident. Being on phone. Let me tell you, have you ever imagined, have you stayed alone in the house, and at night you were sleeping, and then you saw a shadow and you thought the ghost had come into the house? Have you had that experience? Like, you're sleeping in the house, you are alone. That's why I don't want to be alone in my house. Like, literally you can build a house and you think it's small, but the day your people get out and you're there alone in the house, that's when you know if the house is big. So literally you're sleeping in the house, and then when you open you normally, and normally for you to get those things, your eyes are not totally open. It's like half of the eyes are open, and then you see this bird standing in the corner, and then you think a ghost is there. You get? Literally, that can happen to you if you're driving and you have a smartphone, because your eyes are literally on the smartphone, and when you turn like this, you see something in the way, and there is nothing, and then you brake abruptly. Smartphones are very dangerous. Smartphones are very dangerous. Don't use your phone when you're driving. And literally, I think, see you. And literally, I think why these old guys survive for a very long time driving highways, literally, is because they never had smartphones. Like kali akasimu ka torch kabupesa, when are you going to like literally, when are you going to get attracted to drive as you press the buttons? For who? And at that time they literally had no one to contact. I've seen 4 cars now, automatics, 4 cars including SUVs. The drivers are driving Ariat. I don't know if you see me carefully. What you guys do? You guys drive automatics. You get it? That's like one of the stupidest things you can ever do. Endobo jikuba ngole same gear. Endobo jikuba ngole same gear. You press you press the clutch. Endobo nze je nkuba sikuba eri endobo eyokujja mu gear. Endobo eyokujja mu gear yebera dangerous. Nti bwe wekanga naye lwaki wekanga. That's the first thing. Like when you're driving, you're supposed to be alert, but nangenze mbera alert ku kubo. I think that's literally why I've never had an accident when I'm driving fast. When I'm driving, like my mind is on the road, nothing else. I especially when I'm going fast. Like now I'm going very slow, but you can see that I have laser sharp focus on the road. You get, but still. Tell me, Lemon, how Endobo is dangerous, because I've literally not had any problem with Endobo. Every time I've knocked a car in front of me, I was literally driving, but I was not paying attention. So I've never. How is it dangerous? Because I've seen people say Endobo is dangerous, but okujja ko nga toinayo moyo okuba oti Endobo notasaayo moyo. Oshegera. I know that in automatics. I know that in automatics that bokube Endobo, it means putting in neutral, and that will spoil your gearbox. But in manual, when I do Endobo, what danger is there? Daniel, you should. And by the way, automatics are mostly in Uganda. If you've been to Europe, and anyone that is in Europe will tell me, anyone in Europe will tell me, Europeans drive mostly manual cars. And I've been to Europe, lived with these guys, and literally every home I went to, however old the person was, I remember there's a time I spent a week at an old woman's place. She was about 85, and we would go out, and we were going, basically I live at these places when I'm going to perform, and we would go to the concert house, and he would come out, she would drive the BMW, and it was manual, 7 gears, and she would drive it without trouble. You get what I'm saying? So I personally believe that a manual, Europeans can't be that it can't be that they are stupid, that they drive manual cars. Automatics are very convenient. Automatics give you no trouble. You don't have to concentrate. Like, I mean, you're tired from work, or like you literally just want to press the accelerator and go. That's why most of the accidents that are on the road, most of them are automatics. And you realize that 50%, and this is not an accurate number, I don't have data, but I'm saying this is an estimation. You realize that majority of the time that we have accidents, 50% of them are because a person was on the phone. I don't know if I make sense. So the other thing that can literally cause, and will probably be the cause of most of the accidents we have, the tires we drive, and I have a video on tires. The tires we drive on most of our small cars and should literally not go beyond 111 kilometers per hour. You study. I'm going to do another video. Probably I should update that video. The tires we drive on most of the small cars we have, you should not drive them beyond 111 kilometers per hour. I don't know if I make sense. But Arthur, today I come to ask about something in regard to the kind of cars we drive in Uganda. For example, most of us are afraid to drive good European cars just because of how hard they are to deal with. What do you think we can do to overcome such big challenges? Because I don't think we shouldn't drive good cars just because we are in the third world countries. But Daniel, it doesn't mean that Japanese cars are bad cars or they're not good quality. They are good quality. I mean, even Europeans drive good Japanese cars, even when their European cars are made in their continent. They drive Japanese cars because Japanese cars are reliable, they are easy to maintain. All over the world, people prefer to drive Japanese cars because Japanese cars are easier to maintain, they are more reliable. It totally has nothing to do with quality. Even a German car, at the speed that guy, I imagine that speed that guy was going, even a Mercedes-Benz, you would have died. Even in a BMW, you would have died. The only car that I cannot be sure you would have died would be a Volvo, because literally Volvos are like the safest cars I know. You get. But at the speed I imagine, because I'm thinking he was going more than 130 kilometers. If he was going more than 130 kilometers, he was literally, he had signed his death warrant. Money. Over around, but 2K.
Then you Sulis.
Yeah, because I have a lot of people that are going to eat them. Nenyongeza. Timu yegendo buli abanji. Yeah. So personally, I'm a fan of German cars, but I have been discouraged day and night using a smartphone than using a smartphone. Edwin, even in a German car, if you're using a smartphone and going at the speed that guy was going, you will die. Because I want you to understand that it's not just a car that causes death. If you get into a crash, just the shock can kill you. Okay? If you get into a crash, I don't know if you guys have seen how an airbag deploys. This airbag here. This airbag, if it found someone that has a bad heart, the airbag itself will kill you. But from what I saw in that car, it doesn't even seem like the airbag's deployed. You get. Now, if you are going at a very high speed and you get into a crash and the airbags fail to deploy, my dear, you will die. Just the shock alone, just imagine you hitting your chest here. And there are chances that people don't even have seat belts. You know, having a seat belt on is a habit. Personally, that is like, I'm addicted to seat belts. But there are people that drive and they don't even use seat belts. Now imagine that kind of crash without a seat belt, because and sometimes even a seat belt fails. But you know how a seat belt functions. You see, if you get into a crash, because the crash is sudden, this seat belt fails to move. You see. However, if you pull it slow, it will come. You see. But if you get into a crash, you see, that's how it works. So you can't come all the way here. But even this can kill you if the crash is very serious. So the other thing that can cause you to die is not having a seatbelt on. But I was still talking about the tires. Majority of the tires we have on our cars, now I don't remember the numbers and the letters and the figures, but majority of the tires we buy, the Linglongs, the MRF, majority of the tires we have on our cars, and that's why they are cheap. They are not meant, these tires are not meant to go beyond 111 kilometers per hour. But you find someone driving tires that are prescribed for 111 kilometers per hour, ngazivuga 150. Isn't that stupidity and ignorance? I've always said people are not stupid. I don't know why it keeps, I think because we have been programmed to call people stupid. Okay, ignorant people, I will say. It's ignorance of the highest order. Now, you've seen how you pull the seatbelt softly. Probably you did not know that when it's sudden, the seatbelt doesn't come. So now you've learned it. How are you going to start using the seatbelt properly? Now you know how a seatbelt deploys. Now, if you did not know that the tires have classes, and the class of tires that we drive on most of our cars are not supposed to go beyond 110 kilometers, will you still go beyond 110? Ataka tijine mipira jemoteka ku RAV4, like the RAV4 in front of me, that one. Most of those tires are not even supposed to go beyond 100 kilometers per hour. But you find someone driving that RAV4 more than 120. Most of those SUV tires that you buy that are cheap. That's why you find that the government vehicle, for them, they buy expensive tires. They know what they are buying. Because they get recommendations from professionals. But you, when you're buying tires in Gogenze, in downtown, you buy the cheapest tire available as long as it has a tread. And then you don't even know that it's not supposed to go beyond 110 kilometers. No sigarango chavuge riechi wagwebi. So the tires have killed so many people, even taxis, by the way. Tire busts, apart from the brakes, taxis get into crashes because of tire busts. I don't know if I make sense. A taxi guy will put a tire on the car, and that tire is not supposed to go beyond 120 kilometers, but then he goes 160. Stupid here. Now, stupid in my case, I'll be very clear, means ignorance. over pretending to be ignorant. I don't know if I make sense, guys. Like, you need to know the class of tire you're buying. Either when you're going to buy tires on your car, or if you have a car now, look at those letters and then Google them. Google what they mean. You realize that probably your car is not supposed to go beyond 111. Most of the cars, most of these small cars that we drive, they're not supposed to go beyond 111. And that's just it. It has nothing to do with Arthur abusing you. Obutaba magezi doesn't mean stupid. Obutaba na magezi means lack of knowledge. So obutaba na magezi doesn't mean stupid. Obutaba na magezi means not having the wisdom to make certain decisions that you should be making. So that's probably majority of the time people die because of the lack of wisdom or the lack of knowledge or the lack of experience. So not in actual sense stupidity. So if you don't have the knowledge about how the seatbelt functions, you will not use the seatbelt because you will not know how serious the seatbelt is. If you don't have the knowledge of how the tires work and the classes of tires, you will not know what your speed limit should be in your car. Now you can imagine, I think that person didn't even have proper tires. You stop but the tires don't stop. Literally because they don't have tread to grab the road, and then you end up into a very serious crash. You get? But I personally think that the condition of the car, regardless of the condition of the car, because I told you, even the engine can stop abruptly and cause you to get into a crash. I've said that, right? Because if the engine stops abruptly, the car will start to strain to move, because without the engine, the tires are literally moving on their own. Without the engine power, the brakes literally don't work properly. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So if you have the engine stop abruptly, the brakes will stop working, the car will lose power, and then you will panic. And then normally panic, even in business, even at home, even in relationships, panic causes problems. So some accidents are caused by panic. And panic happens because drivers are inexperienced. And we have a lot of inexperienced drivers on the road. Because they drive automatics. And automatic, like driving an automatic doesn't mean you know how to drive a car. Because literally driving an automatic kubanga kuvuga andobo. Driving an automatic is ndobo in manual. You're literally using only one pedal. You're using the accelerator pedal and the brake pedal. That's all. But driving with a slave queen sitting at co-driver seat is more dangerous than using a smartphone. But I think they're in a semba yo kutomera. Natomera kamoroka kamukazi kali kamazdanga bwakajjango tumanyiza bay. And I had put new tires on my car. Like the previous week, and I had put new tires on the car, and the traffic officers were just there in front of me, and I looked at her and I was saying, I even looked at them and boo, I knocked in front of them. So it was recklessness. My friend crashed his dad's Voxe at prom party at Nadia SS. Yes, that's true. Regardless of the car you're driving, if you're driving at high speed, you will die. That's very true. In fact, you will meet your ancestors and God most important. He was using thighs instead of looking. Dozolaba. Having enough rest before driving can also be. You're meaning not having enough rest. Like sometimes you can't have enough rest. Like the day I was driving to Mbarara, we had shows here and we had shows in Mbarara the next day. So we literally had to drive that night so that we are there the next morning. And you know what's funny? The shows in Mbarara, Zansara. Omanyoku Sarano Damu negatives. So that's what happened with the shows in Mbarara. Like I made losses. I made a loss like I've never made before. And then that was 2018, my firstborn was not yet, actually my firstborn was born the next month. So I'm literally always imagining if I died on that trip to Mbarara, my son would have been born with a father. And from that day, I just decided I'm not going to drive at night again. That's how I stopped driving at night. Paka when nafuna emergency yo mwana gwe nali ntwala embali. So the rest is there, but Entebbe Express is not even 100 kilometers. I don't think that having rest applies in this case. The Entebbe Express accident was a pure reckless driving. Tewabadde kirala. Yabadde avuga bubi, either n'abaako kye yeekanga oba emmoroka n'egaana okusiba. It was just reckless driving. Tewabaddewo kirala. It was just reckless driving. Of course, it's sad that we lost him, but I think it should be a learning. It should be a lesson for us abasigadde ku nsi ffe tulemate kuddamu kukola bya kisiru. Okitegeera, because the grief that you leave people in gwe togiwulira, because literally people are grieving. I did not know him personally, but I know he was a promising young man. Okitegeera. Arthur, how is a Volvo V40 T4 2015? I have no idea what you're talking about. That's a car model, but I have no idea what it is. I'll have to read about it and probably revert. Arthur, how many cc do you think a G-Touring has? The G-Touring has 1.5. The G-Touring has 1.5 cc. Talk about headlights. Some people drive in full always. Actually, Edwin, some cars are not in full always. Some cars have headlamps that are poorly set. You know that those lamps can be set, and there is a level at which, because they are supposed to be set in normal lights, not full. And some cars have crashed. Every time your car crashes, it loses the originality in the front. And these guys that fix cars here in Uganda don't know those things of amatarabaga setting bati ye kasitazaawe moroka neerabika bulungi ng'ogenda. And then there are these cars like lorries, like taxis, where for someone to put a new bulb in there, they literally have to remove the headlamp and then put it back. So they can actually put it back poorly. And then you start thinking that it's in full always. Nenga, it's not in full, it was just poorly set. I don't know if I make sense. But then always, what do abantu abamunga tebamanyi what is full, what is dim? There are people that don't know what is full, what is dim. Still, that is ignorance, lack of knowledge. Some people that don't know, they don't even know how these things work. Especially the guys that learned in cars at home. They were driving in the fence, and then now you go kubo, and then one day there is an emergency at home, and their dad or their auntie or their uncle or their mother who told him cannot be available. So they tell him, you know what? We don't have time. You drive the car. And then when he reaches safe, the people at home realize, oh, no, let's get him a driving permit. They get him a driving permit. And just like that, they get him a permit and he starts driving. So those guys that are ignorant are so many on the road. If someone went to a driving school, they would probably teach them those things. But for the guys that have cars at home, it's very rare that they go to driving school. I personally did not go to a driving school. I find that a taxi driver friend taught me how to drive. But now we don't enjoy them aunt. But some of these things personally I've learned out of experience and reading. But majority of Ugandans don't like to read. But me, I read a lot. Some people are selfish. They use spotlights where unnecessary. No, Gaetano, I will tell you that it's not selfishness. Some people use spotlights because those are the lights they have. The headlamps don't work. I'm sure you realize that some headlamps are dirty. Then some headlamps are badly set, so that's why they put those spotlights. But spotlights on any car that are properly set, they should not be hindering the view of the person coming towards your car. Like my car has spotlights, but they never hinder anyone from seeing. The only thing that hinders, because that's how a normal car is supposed to be. These other lights that people mount on their cars, they mount them because their normal headlamps don't work. You get it? So if you ever find a person that has those big bright LED lights, they have mounted them because their headlamps don't work. A car that has normal headlamps doesn't need those extra spotlights. That's one thing I've realized. Like my car, the headlamps work properly. And whenever they get that brown shade, I clean them myself. And just like that, I've never needed to put spotlights on my car, those extra spotlights. So it's in a way it looks like it's them being selfish, but it's them trying to see. You get it? I'm going to read those comments. What technicality in driving. So I think like the biggest video never to be get them amatala gagafuru agakubamu using a smartphone, a car that is in poor condition, bad brakes, not knowing the limits of the tires, not using a seat belt, and actually the other thing that can cause you an accident is this windscreen. And that windscreen can cause you an accident if it has scratches or if you bought a poor quality, because that can cause you an accident as well. The other thing that can cause you an accident is probably wipers that don't work, or wiper fluid that doesn't work. Okay, because the windscreen will get dirty and you cannot clean it. And then when that happens, your windscreen will get dirty and at a certain point will not be able to see. And when that happens, my brother, you can die. I hope that is clear. But I find that the biggest reason why people get accidents is the lack of knowledge on how to operate this automobile. The lack of knowledge on how to properly operate an automobile. What I'm saying is that not everyone that is on the road that is driving knows how to drive. Not everybody on the road knows how to drive. Majority of these guys just know how to steer and press accelerator and brake. Because especially with automatic cars, the moment you put in drive, what else are you left to do? There is no thinking. Otereza butereza. Otereza butereza. That's why as people grow older, I know a certain old man, for him yagamba yakowo okumenyeka olowooza bino olina okukyusa gia okitegeera. So literally a person that drives a manual car is thinking about their work, is thinking about home, but then at the same time he has to know when to let the clutch go. Multitasking. People that drive automatics because they don't want to multitask, and that can be a very dangerous thing. So that's why I'm recommending that everyone that is watching this broadcast go back to a driving school, even when you know how to drive, and pay the guy over the pay 10K per hour, and then learn how to drive a manual car, and then understand what it means to actually drive a car. Learn what it means to multitask, and then you'll tell me if you'll come back to your automatic car and use a phone. That will literally be impossible. But I find that most of these accidents are caused by inexperienced drivers. You remember, I think the broadcast I did on Friday, this wish guy, this old man, yali asala okuyisa nga asala busazi kuyingira eno nga tale tatunde mu side mirror kulaba chichijja, driving mirror tagikozesezza, I literally think he doesn't even have a sense of timing. On one of the posts that was announcing the death of this young journalist, someone commented and said that in Uganda, we are literally living in death. Everything you do can kill you. Starting from the electric wires, if they fall, they will literally kill a village. Accidents, because we literally drive cars that are 15 and more years. Me, my car is more than 23 years old. Actually, literally in Europe, it would be a vintage. But I'm at Njivuga, ne family nebagambo mwano yakola sente. You have to see me saying this. Temula but I drive a 23-year-old car. Njivuga nebagambo mwano yo sente zamukira. Actually, I know an old man in my family that said, Mula babana bebono na sente. Ngarabe motoka nguze yamanyi nenga najigula milioni 5. Bashegera. Literally, even the poverty can kill you. Because of poverty, you can see that after wagula yaka motoka ake milioni 5. Oruo. Ayono na sente ziyali zimbye mu amaka gali kuoleka. Poverty can kill you because you start thinking that other people bwebete kamu kasente akatonotono. Orobono na sente gweze wali badofu na nokolamu ebyamagezi. You get. So the guy was saying that literally everything can kill us. The cars, inexperienced drivers, these border guys, my God, border. Simanyina kumanya antia border. I have phobia for borders. The guys that ride borders have zero experience on the road. Majority of them don't even have common sense. And common sense of the road, I'm not saying common sense everywhere. But majority of them don't have common sense for the road. The border guy can cross in front of your car like he had an appointment with you. That at exactly 35 seconds past the minute of 10 or 5 p.m. I will cross, so brake. And literally it's God that has saved that guy. You get? Those border guys, they lack common sense on the road. Someone that is easy to say stupid, he would say that those people are stupid. It's like the moment you sit on a border, the common sense vanishes. And you start riding like you're ready to die. It's like these guys have spare lives. Even when they have the warning that when a border guy goes to Mlago Hospital, they just cut off your leg, they still ride that they have spare legs. And guys, when you're crossing into another lane, you need to signal so that people know that, okay, now this guy is turning to the other lane. But you find people, they don't signal. Again, not signaling amara kurubana indicator. But after crashing or scratching another person's car, but Gaetano, I think xenon lights don't give you a clearer view. The xenon lights are just brighter, but they don't really give you a brighter view. I used to drive a car with xenon lights. Some people, okay. Arthur, which SUVs do you think someone can get in a budget of 40 to 50 million from the bond, which is manual as well? Because you have now sold me. I think RAV4. RAV4 is literally the manual car that I think you can get. It's a car that I can think you can get in manual. I've not seen a Kaundo manual. I've not seen a Kruger manual. Probably you can think about Nissans now. But I think you can get a RAV4. Yeah. But even Wish, I've seen a Wish that is manual. I've seen a Fielder that is manual. I've not seen a Spacio that is manual, but I've seen a Wish that is manual. But I personally, I think it would be the RAV4, definitely. I think it would be a RAV4. And the RAV4 is a very good thing. But you guys now, from now on, I think one thing you should look at the class of your tires and understand what your speed limit should be when you're driving. Because if you don't do that, you will die. Learn how to use seat belts as well, because if you don't, you will die. Don't use a smartphone as you're driving, because if you do, you will die. Don't overtake recklessly, because if you do, you will die. Don't overspeed, because if you do, you will die. Now, if you want to die, do all those things, because that's like a pass to heaven or hell, because we can't all go to heaven. I personally think I can't make heaven. I'm a sinner. If I make heaven, I'll worship God, because that's the job that is there, worshiping God. But personally, I think there are some sins that are unforgivable, like fornication. I fornicated, and I fornicated from like senior 4. I started fornicating when I was in baby class. Some girl spoiled me. She was in P1, I was in baby class. She took me to an unfinished house and she showed me how things were done. Because for them they had TV, so I think they saw them on those things on TV. She showed me. Then top class, I was the one teaching. P1, I was the one teaching. Then I got a break up to like senior 4. Then senior 4, we were teaching ourselves. The girls knew things. Actually, the girl started teaching me then in senior 4. Why do you spend money on spotlights instead of using it to work on your head? I think, Gaetano, it's because our mechanics here don't know how to set those lights. Tebamanyi, they don't know how to set the headlamps. That's why, and majority of the time we go to the garage. You see in Europe, most of their garages are indoors, so they can actually close the door and do the measurements, because it takes measurements for you to know where the headlamp is supposed to, whatever. But here, most of our garages are outdoor, and most of the mechanics work in during the daytime, so they cannot literally. So the easier solution is to do that. So me, I actually would not really blame people that do that. Border guys die because they lie too much. They lie. Which year of RAV4? I have no idea, Daniel. That is something that we would have to inquire and see. But right now, you cannot get a car that is below 2009 in the bond. So right now the cars are 2009, and next year it will be 2010, like that. Yeah. But 50 million, I'm sure you can get a RAV4 that is manual. Maybe that guy was on a terrible speed, yet Paso is a very light car. At a terrible speed in every car, be it SUV, you've seen MPs that have died in their SUVs. So at a terrible speed, even a Mercedes-Benz, you'll die. You guys need to go you need to take time and watch YouTube crash tests, car crash tests. You will learn that high speed can kill you in any car. Japan, even in the Japanese cars, you die. Even in the Volvo, even, by the way, you see, I've been saying the Volvo is the safest car, because in those crash tests, the Volvo gets the least damage. But even it, and remember, the damage starts from here. So you as a driver, you will die. You will die, and you will leave your things here. You will leave the money you've been saving. So if you have the kind of person that likes to overspeed, eat your money. Zirie, because you're going to die soon. I don't know if I make sense. It's like how I would tell you, if you have unprotected sex, eat your money, you will die. Unprotected sex will get you hepatitis B, it will get you hepatitis C, it will get you HIV, and with those diseases, you will die. Because when you get HIV, you're sure you will die soon. I know they are pills, but you will die. Because HIV doesn't kill you, but the diseases that HIV brings kill you. And if those diseases don't kill you, the drugs you take for HIV will give you cancer, and then you'll die of cancer. I don't know if I make sense. So if you continue doing chitwe, when muntu wa chitwe, you will die. But inexperienced drivers, this lane is moving properly. He's struggling to enter a lane that is not moving. Sometimes driving school can be very dangerous. Era naye avuga kapaso. Kapaso kola bakali maso ga Mark 2. He struggled to leave a lane that Katirabanono was passing. Like, you can't be driving at 10 kilometers per hour when the rest of the people are driving 30 kilometers per hour. Kati wapaso mumulabo bugwabo. Avudde mu line etambula, nadda mu line etatambula, fe balese mu line etambula, tugenda yingira line etatambula, tumuyise, tugende mu maaso. Cheche nabagambye common sense on the road. You need to know the common sense on the road. Ebitala bya radio wa traffic atutadde. Kati eyaze mu line eringa yefuule yasome nnyo tagenze bagenda mu kwata. Common sense on the road in Uganda is not the common sense on the road in the UK. In Uganda, you need to know that where there are traffic lights, there might be a traffic officer trying to divert the traffic. So that's common sense on Ugandan roads. That's true. Arthur, border guys are reckless. But Arthur, you have gone through things. So you were the proof in simple terms. I think the comment, either my feed came late to you or your comment came late to me. many inexperienced drivers. Bwe kasita muyiga okulinnya omuliro ne buleeki ne muyiga n'okutereeza ku kkubo nga mujja mutuwaffe obuzibu ffe abamanyi okuvuga, nga mutuwa obuzibu. We have actually normalized poor driving because even the traffic officers in Uganda, they themselves don't know how to drive. Find a traffic officer and give him a manual car. He will not be able to drive it. Nenga na ya judging poor driving. Because manual, for me personally, I'm not saying it's the world standard. Personally, manual is the standard. And then you'll find that when these guys go to apply for permits, the restrictions and the driving permit, they send no restrictions. Like a person that only knows how to drive automatics should get a restriction of 80 automatic, but they put no restrictions. And then we start competing. Muyimirira ku traffic stop ne batandika okubalabira ku level yemu, level si yemu. But for our brother's accident, people on the scene say he might have dozed off because he just went off the road and hit a signpost, then the rest followed. That's a possible thing. But let me tell you something, Gaetano. If I went off the road and I was going 50 kilometers per hour, the car will not overturn. It will not. It will hit the signpost and stop there. Do you know that? But if I went off the road doing 130, I will hit the signpost because the speed is too much, the car will overturn. I told you there's a time I drove going to Mbali, it was an emergency. I had to take this kid, my car was manual, so there was no one to help me drive it. So I literally just had to drive the car myself. And I was taking this kid to Mbali in the hospital. And I was dozing. But the times I was dozing, I would be going 40 kilometers per hour. And those are roads where I would see that it's isolated, there are no cars. Because you can imagine if I started driving at 11, I started dozing past Ginger. And past Ginger there, traffic is a little less. So I would actually use routes that I don't remember which routes I used because I personally have not a very strong memory. So I would use routes that don't have a lot of traffic because I knew my problem. So I would doze, but when I'm doing 30 to 40 kilometers per hour, I don't go beyond that speed because I know that in that speed, when I'm within that speed, even when I go off the road, and I had someone here, I had a friend, a sister to the kid we were taking, and she was seated in the co-driver's seat, and I told her, please don't doze, because I'm really tired. I had really worked hard that day, and I was tired, and I told her, please don't doze, you need to keep me awake. You're the only person that can keep me awake. And she did not doze. Every time she saw me going off the road, she would wake me up. And we got to the Mbali hospital. You know that I think it's called Kiwa Kids Hospital, Children's Hospital. And we got there safely. But if you're dozing, and you know there is a safe place you can park, why don't you park? Like, it's not an emergency. You get what I'm saying? So I'm sure we can learn from this situation. I'm not saying what I'm saying is not supposed to be in a negative light. We can learn from this situation. There are places he would have parked on the express, like the road tolls. Okay, he would have parked at the road tolls. I'm sleepy, can I park here? They would have allowed him. Okay, now traffic ibabo bayiyedde ekiddo kati kino ekiddo kinoonya bipapula, toyina pamiti, toyina mipiira and things like that. For the people that don't know what Chido means, it's literally meaning traffic officers stopping at a certain point and literally trying to arrest everyone. Their job is to arrest and fine everyone. And if you have just like a few meters away, there is another Chido here. You get? So they want third party, they want permit, mipira, no lack of fines, Uganda. Seat belts. They are literally trying to arrest everyone that is driving on the road. akachude nakali ku boda kandaba nabagaye moloka yange ya 5 naye sebo kubatagirina nabo babala bandi mu road emotoka ya 5 naye batagirina you don't know the people that don't have this car bamunene. Of course, then we put an exception, the people that can't afford to buy it, because you can have the money but buying this car at 5.5 will literally leave you in debt or will leave you broke. Ati omulabye oyo kati bano bali ku naye banange mbeti Namboz's voice. What's up? Greetings Uncle Salmini Makato, I hope you're doing well. So what's the point of putting up traffic lights? That question we can ask ourselves, and then we'll answer ourselves that in Uganda anything is possible. Anything is possible, because I personally find that in places where traffic lights were put, like in Bwaise, traffic actually flows very well without a traffic officer, if we all pay respect to the traffic lights. The trouble is that the traffic lights are there, but some people are allowed to not respect them, like cars of judges. Omulaba balaba nayingidde the Kuba, he would rather cross to the other lane. Such people that lack wisdom, I'm not going to call them stupid, they lack wisdom. Omuntu oyingire kubo n'otuuka ne mulene ey'okubiri naye nga awulira okuleka oyitewo, at least afa. It's like how we say that aba boda okulwa mu kkubo balwa emulago, okitegeera, okulwa mu kkubo alwa emulago. That's how it's supposed to do. Omuntu bw'ayingira ekkubo aba akusoose, muleka agende, like you lose nothing. But some Ugandan poor drivers are inexperienced drivers. They would rather die than let you go past them. Like, I'm not going to the same destination as you. Okitegeera, nyingidde ekkubo leka mpitewo ngende gye ndaga. Wa boda okulwa mu kkubo alwa emulago. I think that's a motto they have. Oba bwe batula mu meetings abwe zibagamba mwe bagayi tokkirizanga okulwa mu kkubo ati lwa emulago. You get? The other thing that you should probably think about, for you to know that maybe you know how to reverse park at these parking spots in town. If you don't know how to reverse park, tomanyi motoka dayom driving school or ige. If you don't know how to reverse park, you don't know how to drive. Go back and learn, because literally that's like the test. You find someone parks the car, he leaves the butt of the car in the road because they don't know how to reverse park. Because all the parking spaces in town, you have to reverse park. But you'll find someone panicking in a hurry. He's panicking to park. Like, literally, where did you learn how to drive from? In the compound. You learned in the compound. Let me see if I see someone that parked poorly here. But again, but no one never mind. You see that Kruger? The same thing with this Subaru. It's because they literally don't know what to do when they park. The cars that would be understandable to stay in the road would probably be these lorries here, because it's on nene. But why would you be struggling to park it? Who you was passing? They only know how to drive when they are going in front. In reverse, they literally want to come out of the car because they don't know how to reverse using the side mirrors and the driving mirrors. So if you don't know how to reverse park, go back and learn how to drive. If you don't know how to drive a manual car, please, this is my recommendation to you. Find some time, go learn how to drive a manual car. I believe if you don't know how to drive a manual car, you're going to kill people. This is a one way. But this guy is literally driving a one way. Like he's doing the right thing. Kamulabe ate no musajja mukulu ansingako n'obukulu mulabi. banze nyina envi wano emu alinawo 5 katoyo aba nsinga obukulu kati ate waliwo ateeka aparkinga mu sipooti yange ngenda gisaako reserved sagala muntu kujja parkinga mu sipooti yange going to put reserved muwira steering yange wekola kerere. So I literally have to buy a new steering rack. I actually, the way you see the way I park, there is a time I parked like this and I parked on the edge of Omwara, and then there is a man that came. He has been driving longer than me, but he said nayo manyi Arthur gwamanyi okuparkinga nyamu parkingire ku motoka yange ndabo giparkinga bulungi awo tebasobola gikulubula nze yange bwengi parkinga bajja kunkulubula. And yeah, well, basically I helped him. So let me see this last comments. Arthur, I heard that at night truck drivers drive in the middle of the road so that in case they doze off, they can easily get the car back in control in case it's going off the road. Is it true? Well, driving in the middle of the road for truck drivers has so many reasons, but one of the main reasons is because, especially if the lorry is loaded, being in the middle of the road gives him balance. You get, not that if they doze, it gives you balance, because remember our roads are made like this so that the water goes this way and this way. So when you're like driving like this and you have a packed truck, yet you can actually drive in the middle. Driving in the middle makes more sense. You get it? So they drive in the middle so that the lorry is still balanced. I don't know if that makes sense, but also it can be that you mean parallel parking. Reverse parking is swaza mbantu bangi abantu bawulira njogera oluzungu bagamba omusajja ono nga yasoma gwe noleeta ebigambo ebizibu. Parallel parking, reverse parking. Even the guys in driving school, they said reverse parking. But if the guys in driving school say reverse parking, who am I to dispute the norm? The norm is we reverse park. Woo! Parallel parking is for you in Europe. Tajja kuyigira ku mulimo sewo Uncle Arthur. Which electric car is manual? None, because it's electric. It's supposed to control itself. Yeah, the future, but in Uganda, an electric car will just make you hate people. For the traffic lights, I think it's about the quality, because where I am, traffic lights work differently at specific hours. Rush hours, some lanes are given priority because they have more vehicles. Gaetano, I think even Ugandan traffic lights are supposed to work like that. That's why they have sensors. They have sensors at the top. They're supposed to sense. That's why you realize that sometimes, especially like at Acacia Avenue, when you're in the road that is busiest, they give it a lot of time, and the road that doesn't have a lot of cars, they give it. They have sensors as well. They have sensors, but I think over the planning of the city might actually also be the issue. It might be the issue. I'll buy an electric car. No need to learn manual cars. It's okay, Anthony. But right now, I think the quality of driving schools and the quality of drivers we have in Uganda, knowing a manual car would give you a lot of advantages. You get it? Because with a manual car, overspeeding gets you in trouble. Underspeeding gets you in trouble with a manual car, from my experience. Which take it. But I also find that all people that have driven manual cars drive better than people that have not. Which take it. Yeah, but I have to go, guys. Let me just go through the names of the guys that have engaged. The guys that are in Kamori, I don't take you for granted. Remember, I do pre-purchase inspection. I help you buy your car. I help you inspect it. I come with a mechanic, and we make sure you buy a car that is not only in good mechanical condition, but you buy a car that is worth the money, but you also buy a car that checks out in paperwork and everything. No traffic fines, no parking tickets and all that. And you buy a car that is worth the money, a car that will not make you lose money when it comes for time to upgrade, because we all have to upgrade at a certain time, right? So and I do that whenever you book me. Of course, I charge 400,000 for that. That includes the mechanic, the fuel that takes us to the cars that you have listed. Or if you don't have options for cars, I help you find options of cars to buy. I also sell car tracking devices, because your car is an asset, and why wouldn't you want to protect an asset? The tracking devices range between 350 to 450 depending on the functionalities, and also you can track your car in real time. By the way, you can stop it using your mobile phone and all. I also sell car alarm systems. Protect your valuables in the car, protect your radio, pesa. But make kubangoli guy wa yali Audi jebaba. Yeah, and I'm also a full-time marketer. If you have a business that is disturbing you, you don't know what to do with it. Majority of the time when a business is not making money, the challenge is marketing. It's rarely it has nothing to do with the capital. Really has anything to do with capital. It really has anything to do with competition, because competition will always be there. MTN has competition, Airtel has competition, but they're still doing well. You get. So Toyota Uganda has a competition with used cars, but they still sell cars. You get, and very expensively at that. So so when your business is having challenges, I have the marketing solution for that. I help you build, create, develop proper marketing plans. I help you implement it. I help you develop proper marketing systems that will help you probably move your business in the right direction. Martha, thank you very much for being very early. Lemon Samuel, Barbara, Bill Gadgets, Asiku Patrick Council for Wemba, Ijinja, Daniel, Adrian, Shibazo Innocent, Adam, Samuel Grace, Brian, Innocent Mugabe, Gaetano, Benedicto, Arnold, yeah. Thank you very much for engaging as well. Solomon Amuri, Arafat Kauma, those are new names. Thank you very much for joining. Salmin, Bella Katusime, JK, Jeko Ruzungu, njogera wano Ruzungu abantu bagamba musajja amanyo Ruzungu Jeke najja kubawa ekintu ekigamba naye ata tomanye. Hey! Anthony McAnthony, yeah. Honorable Kahinda Obed, Nick Wabuyi, it's always a lovely program. Amina, thank you very much. Uncle Arthur, you also do marketing for poultry or marketing is marketing. Marketing applies across all industries. Yeah, I do. I can help you create a marketing strategy that can help you make more money out of your chicken. I can actually partner with you as well. It's just that I cannot do everything. So go hands on, I can partner with you. It's called a partnership. Because I want to have magic. It's like how I got these glasses in the Sida Bawala. When I see waiting, oh my God, doctors are magicians. And then I could see properly. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of this live broadcast. If you're downloading this video and you're watching it in the evening or tomorrow, thank you very much. I'm trying to twerk the network thing. That's why you see the picture quality is not good today. I'm probably going to solve it today. Tomorrow it will be better. I made a discovery that probably will fix our network. Yesterday, for example, I could not actually do the live broadcast because of network. But starting tomorrow, I'm hoping very much that it will be a much better experience for you and I, because when the network is not working, even myself, I get bad experience, and I don't want that for you. But I hope it has been a good discussion. Thank you very much for engaging the guys that are engaged. The guys in Kamori, thank you very much. I'd like to remind you guys, if you have not subscribed, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get the notification whenever I'm going to do live or whenever I upload a new video. Recommend this channel to your friends so that we keep growing the community. It's very good for me as well. And also recommend people to come and give me business for pre-purchase inspection, car alarms, car trackers, and marketing services as well, because that's one way I can keep the lights on and keep doing this, so that then I can actually research a little more. Thank you very much, guys. I wish you a very lovely day. I'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget, tomorrow is Marketing Tuesday. If you have a business in Kampala, come and market. But also, I'll be teaching you some things about marketing. So if you have a business and you don't want to pay me consultation of 100,000 per hour, you can come and learn from here and learn a few tricks that you can apply in your business, and then nichikwata you. Have a very nice day. Ciao.